So guys, just recently the BBC did a bit of a hit piece on Andrew Tate and interviewed one of the alleged victims. And these two guys on Twitter, I will link them down below, did a good job of breaking down some of this and exposing the lies that were within. So I'll play this clip for you guys now as always, then we'll talk about it after.
It's very difficult because I don't feel like a victim. I mean, all the choices I made were of my free will. He didn't, bundle me up in a bag, throw me in the back of a lorry and drive me there.
I mean, do we need any comments? She literally states the whole thing and just demonstrates why this isn't trafficking. It was my free will. It was my choice. He didn't force me to go.
Everyone's been in love before. Everyone knows the power of that emotion and the things that you do for it. Any kind of rationale or logic kind of leaves your body and you find yourself doing things that maybe you wouldn't normally do. And this is just another one of those situations.
So, look, I don't know the demographic of your audience, but if you're a male, this should be of concern to you. Because just think about how they're trying to frame this. What they're basically saying is, if someone falls in love with you or you fall in love with them, how does that work? Sometimes you do things for them, sometimes they do things for you. So now, if someone's in love with you, that person can say, at any time, because I was in love with that person, and based on that, I didn't have autonomy. And so therefore that person did things to me without consent. That's the extreme feminist world now we're moving towards. And this is propagated by this documentary.
He approached me on Facebook originally, completely out the blue. It didn't ring any bells. But just right off the back, the way he spoke, the way he made me feel, he was very charming and he made himself seem very familiar. He made me feel very comfortable. There were no red flags at all in the beginning. He just took an interest in my day-to-day life, wanted to know what I was into, what made me happy. It was developing naturally.
Sophie says that he then asked her to join him in Romania. She'd never met him before, but it felt right to Sophie in that moment.
I was at a stage of my life where everything sort of felt a bit boring and a bit dull, and this idea of an adventure and then lifestyle, and this guy seemed so into me and he's making me smile every day, and the idea just seemed attractive to me.
So can you see, again, she's providing consent. She said, this guy, we started a relationship, I really liked him, and then I decided to move out. The presenter says, oh, Tate suggested it. Irrespective of who suggested this, she's completely been clear that it was her autonomous decision to move to Romania. So is that now the case that if two people are in love or they meet each other from different cities and one person moves and they don't like the relationship, you can then basically claim human trafficking? Because again, that's how they're framing it. So can you see how when you're framing these ideas, the ramifications of it? That's why I say you may not like Tate. You might not like the things he's done. You may not like the entire industry that he's part of. But when you're basically highlighting certain issues and framing them as trafficking or framing them as rape, you better be well damn sure that whatever principle you're using, that they're very well-defined principles. Because guess what? They always go after people you don't like first. And then they then use them principles to go after you.
The first couple of days of being with him, he was as I expected him to be. And then I can't remember how long I was there for the first time. I think it was 4 or 5 days. It was quite a long time considering it was the first time we'd met. But he just disappeared in the middle of the night. He was in bed next to me and I heard him get up and I thought he's just gone to the bathroom. And he just didn't come back.
Sophie was in his house alone for days.
He disappears for 5 days. You move to a different country. If that doesn't ring alarm bells, what does? Like, if you've got an issue there, you could have left. Why didn't you leave?
Oh, you should do it. You'd make a fortune, but you don't have to, if you don't want to.
He says to her, you don't have to do it if you don't want to. That sounds like consent.
Yeah, they always had the option to leave, and they were getting paid. So how are they held against their will? That's the confusing part.
This is my business, and we can build something together and make all this money, and we can buy property, and we can invest, and we can build this thing together.
We'll build it together. We'll make money together. We'll buy properties together. That is a business deal, a business transaction where two family members are a part of a business. Family members in terms of because they have a relationship in this regard. So again, that demonstrates that it doesn't meet the standards of human trafficking once again.
After some time, Sophie decided to leave Andrew Tate.
So can you see, again, when she wanted to end the relationship, she left. So where's this kidnapping, trafficking, and not being able to leave? It's completely the opposite. She had a relationship, she didn't like the relationship, and she left.
So, bizarrely enough, we have a victim that was told she doesn't have to do anything. She wasn't forced into anything at all. It was all free will. And also, when she left and decided she didn't want to be around him anymore, she was allowed to leave. But supposedly, they're being forced into it. It's going to be a very complex case to be able to prove this lover boy method. A lot of it just doesn't make sense, and I think a lot of people are getting confused with what the actual victims in the case are, and these girls that just speak out to add complexity to this that doesn't need to be there. There's just random women that are speaking out, confusing everyone. A lot of people don't even know who the victims are. I'm not even sure if this woman speaking is even in the case, because they've changed her name in this documentary, and also the names of certain victims are anonymous right now, so how do we even know she's involved? I'll update you guys on how this Andrew Tate situation plays out. It's one of the longest investigations I've ever covered on YouTube, and it doesn't seem like it's going to slow down anytime soon. Leave a like and subscribe and notification bell for more daily updates.